So where we've started on our 10 Ps is we've started with promises. Then we talked about philosophy, and philosophy is what we believe. Philosophy is what we care about, but it's our beliefs. And like we talked about in philosophy, we come to the table with a lot of money beliefs that, especially in marriage, really get in our way, in relationships and life, but it's our beliefs about money. And that's the first thing we want to tackle, is we want to get in touch with those beliefs. But the next part of our relationship that we want to address, the third P, is called psychology. And it's really, really important, especially in relationships, because psychology is about how we feel. And I read a recent statistics that said that 80% of our life, our daily life, is our psychology, and only 20% is reality. So what that means is we're making up most of what we believe and what we think. So we're living in our feelings, we're acting out of our feelings, and we're reacting out of our feelings, and we're not really addressing those. So psychology is really important to our life, to learn to get in touch with what we feel. And this is for all of us individuals, and to really connect to how am I feeling and how am I reacting, because most of us don't take the time to really check in. We just really are reactive. And knowing how we feel is really important. And to know that our feelings change day to day. So again, that's individually, but when we're in relationships or in marriage, our psychologies really, really come out. And we have all these triggers. And so different things can trigger us, especially being day to day with somebody and in these relationships, that really can negatively affect, and we're not even aware of it. But these triggers come from way back, from childhood, and these different parts of our lives, that we have these triggers, that sometimes what our spouse or our partner does is they say something, we snap, and we don't even realize it. So again, that's just normal psychology in a marriage. Now, let's add a new dimension, or another dimension, that's called money. And money already has its psychology, because money is really, really emotional for most people. Is that money, money is one of those things, it's probably the one word that is so highly charged. And most of us haven't taken the time to really get in touch with, why is this word so charged? It's just money, for goodness sakes. And money is just a funding tool. It's just this thing, but we create so much emotion around it. So where does this emotion come from? Where do these feelings come from? And they're usually very deep-seated, because our psychology, again, it comes from our past that we bring with us. And so most of us haven't taken the time to really look at our psychology, and especially our psychology with money. And our psychology with money, our feelings about money, usually comes from where? It usually comes from our parents. And so how did our parents feel about money? Were they good with money? Were they bad with money? Did they not talk about money? Did they fight all the time with money? And so, and especially as kids, if we saw our parents arguing all the time and fighting, that's very emotional. Or if we've seen a parent that was just almost destitute or taken advantage of because of money, because of their feelings and psychology, we can adopt that. And if we don't really get in touch with their feelings about money, we bring it to our relationships. Now, my relationships and my whole background in psychology with money is probably very different than my husband's or my spouse's. So they have their own psychology about money, their own feelings, their own triggers, their own relationship with money, their own feelings, good, bad, right, wrong, greed, or maybe any different feelings we have about money. So the goal here is that we get in check with that. The goal is that we live more in reality, because the reality of money, it's just a tool. The reality of money is it has no emotion. The reality of money is it's very pragmatic and very real and very measurable. In fact, there's nothing more grounded in real and quantifiable than money. So why is it the most emotional thing when it actually is the most real pragmatic thing that there is? And money can, especially in our relationships, when we can get over our hang-ups about it, when we can address our psychologies about it, especially with each other, then money can become the glue of our relationships. We can feel really good about it. It doesn't mean we're not going to have maybe a knockdown, drag out every once in a while, but when we're in the same page, we understand and we've addressed our psychologies, or I can say, hey, this is the way my parents do it, and this is what triggers me, and this is how I feel sometimes, but so if I do that, just let me know, because I don't even realize it, because what I believe to be true is sometimes very different than what I'm acting, because I just need to work on these things over time, because it's so deeply seated. Because money's, without it addressed, money, we might talk about wealth and private company, but money's raw, money's emotionally charged, and money's deeply personal because of these psychologies we bring from our childhood. and it completely affects who we are and how we move in the world. So that's the goal of doing this work together in our psychologies, is to be able to address those things and talk about them so that with our significant others, we understand each other. And then moving forward, we can choose how we want to feel together about money. We can let go of some of those things and say those feelings don't serve us. How do we want to feel about money moving forward? And how do we want to feel about our marriage? So that's our psychology. Is the first place we want to go, and the work we want to do together as part of our marriage and part of our relationship is how do I feel about myself? How do we feel about our marriage? How are we feeling right now? How would we even grade ourselves? Are we doing okay? Could we do better? Are we doing not so great? What are we feeling? Address maybe some of those needs that we talked about earlier in the day. Or then we can talk about our psychologies with money. But really, it's such a great work to sit down and take the time and share, be vulnerable, talk about your families, what your feelings, why you're coming to the table with these things. And then, like I said, move forward, say, okay, done, let's choose how we want to feel moving forward. So that's the psychologies. There's one slide I'd like to show you that I think really shows the goal when it comes to our psychologies. And if you look at the graph, you'll see that the top line, the vertical line, that's called fulfillment. So the goal for everybody is to be fulfilled in life, right? To be happy, fulfilled, joyful. So the higher we are up on the graph, on the line, the more happy we are. And then on the horizontal life, that's prosperity, that's money. So wouldn't the goal for everyone, don't we want to be as happy and as rich as we could be? I mean, that really is our goal for everyone, happy and rich, happy and wealthy, whatever it is. So, but many of us are stuck down in the bottom, in the bottom left corner. And when we're there, when we're not money and our psychologies are really getting in our way and we're not feeling happy, we get stuck there. We feel pain, we might feel ashamed, we might feel weak, we feel stressed, we feel all these different things, but these feelings are real, they affect us. If we're stressed out about money all the time or we're stressed about money in our marriage, it affects every other part of our life. So that's why we really want to get a hold of this, address it, tackle it, and then turn it into something really positive. So the more we start to learn about money and the more we can work on our marriage and be more fulfilled and talk, we go more right on the graph and we go higher on the graph in the fulfillment. So the goal is to continue to learn about money. The goal is to continue to address our psychologies. The goal is to get happy with money and to feel very secure and to build it and get over those hangups. So, because if we have hangups about it, we're probably not going to make a lot of it. Or if we have a lot of hangups about it, we might make a lot of it, but we might not keep a lot of it because we just are trapped in all these psychologies. So if we can get over that and just make money, money's a tool, money funds our life, money's fine, money has no emotion. I really have no emotion. I want money to be a good thing in my life because the more money I have, the more money I can give, and that makes me feel good. So money can be very positive. It can be very empowering. It produces security. It can produce health. It can produce all these parts of life that are very positive when we get over the negative. So that's the goal, is to learn, to tackle our psychologies, to grow with it, be one with our spouse with it, make it the glue versus what separates us. And then automatically it will push up the fulfillment. Automatically we can be happy in these other lives. And at the same time, we're working on all of the psychologies in our life for our own ultimate happiness as well, so that money and happiness meet at the top. So that's the goal. And psychology is the place where we have to start to be able to address the money psychology and our personal psychology so that we can expand to reach to the top.